Lewis Hart for the Ring magazine. Always good to be joined with Eddie Hearn here on a nice Friday afternoon ahead of what's been a quiet couple of weeks, but it all ramps up next week for a big double header for Matchroom with Dave Allen headlining Sheffield against Arslanbek Makhmudov, followed by a nice marathon with Jaron Ennis headlining back in Philadelphia, his debut at 154 against Uisma Lima. But look, first things first, how's things? How are you?
Yeah, all good. Been an interesting 2 weeks with no show.
Mm.
Couldn't believe it. I mean, I did end up getting to Dubai last week with AJ and then Turkey and Riyadh. But on the whole, looking forward to next week. I mean, it's a massive night for Matchroom. Obviously, two big shows, two huge crowds. I am shocked with just how big this Dave Allen night has got and Dave Allen fight has got, and obviously Philly as well. So a big run coming up beyond that as well. With your call the week after with Lidard against Conway, great show, and then going into, of course, Orlando, Ben Eubank at Spurs, Saudi Arabia for the ring card. We'll have a show November 29th, which we'll announce soon. December 6th in Monaco. December 13th, we'll be back in the US. And then the 27th in Saudi as well, which I
Yeah.
expect to be at, of course,
Oh,
Lewis.
of course I'll be there. I'll be there.
Day press conference and all that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to it. Massive week next week. And yeah, feel good.
If someone was to tell you 18 months ago you'd be headlining almost a sellout show in Sheffield with Dave Allen, what would you have said to them?
Unbelievable. I mean, I said to him, these last few days, I really want him to understand what's on the other side of this fight because I do think this fight is going to be pretty horrible for him. I truly believe he can win the fight, and I do believe he'll win the fight. But I think he's going to have to go through some horrible moments against Makhmudov. But this is his biggest payday so far, and this will help him continue to change his life. But victory in this fight just takes him to a level that we could never have anticipated. I said to him, "Oh, I just want you to have a seven-figure house with big fucking electric gates, and I want to come around for a cuppa, and I want to see you on Instagram messing around in the garden and stuff like that." And that's what this victory gives you. So he couldn't be in a better place. I mean, conditioned, um, also, just mindset, everything. And it's not going to be easy. But I truly believe he can win this fight. We're going to have about 8,000 in there. He's told me this is the biggest show we've ever done in Sheffield. He's slightly wrong. We did about 8,800 for Wood Warrington and close to the same for Brookhatten. But other than that, this is one of the biggest fights in Sheffield in the last 15, 20 years. And like you said, for Dave Allen to be headlining that, I just think that, like, the public adoration for this guy, I just think because he's just so real. He goes on his Q&A and he's like talking about how petrified he is about getting flattened
Crazy.
this week. And people love it. And he's captured the hearts of the people, and it's going to be a big week in Sheffield.
Yeah, and just touching on Jaron Ennis as well, makes his debut at 154 pounds. I know you've spoken previously, and he's spoken previously about how difficult it was for him to make 147 and almost the disadvantage he had there. How excited are you, I guess, for him to not have that disadvantage anymore?
Honestly, the word out of camp is, like, if you thought Boots was good at 147, wait till you see him at 154. Because, like you said, it was depleting him to a point where it would affect his performance. It would affect his engine. It would affect his punch power. It would affect his output. Sam Jones has been in Philly with Jack Catcher. He said, "Ed, I've been watching him spar. I've never seen a fighter like him. I've seen all the top fighters. I truly believe that Jaron Ennis is the pound for pound number one in weighting. I'm not talking about 3 years. I'm talking about 12 months. I think this guy is going to go through this division, move up to 160, weight world champion. I think he's the guy to replace Terence Crawford. I think he's that good. And, I know people talk about Lima's a good fight. This is not an easy fight to go into at 54. But after this fight, we want Vergil Ortiz. We want Mutsalayev. We want Fundora. He will beat them all. We just got to make sure we get those fights. And I'm very excited to see him perform at 54. But, like, the word, everyone I speak to is just like, my God, just wait to see what you are about to witness in Philadelphia next week.
What is the deal with Ortiz? Because I know obviously when the Lima fight got announced and the multi-fight extension got announced, there was yourself talking about sort of that being obviously the plan for Boots. When I spoke to Vergil, he was sort of saying, "Look, I'm not on their timing, and I'll do what I want." Essentially, like, is this still all go ahead that fight could
I'll
happen
be
in?
honest with you, it's a bit strange. I mean, we sat in the DAZN HQ with DAZN, top brasses at DAZN, US guys. And basically, we all agreed, myself, Oscar, Eric
Yeah.
Gomez, the Zone, that this was the deal of the fight. It would take place in Las Vegas in the first quarter of 2024, six.
Yeah.
Let's get it made. And that was it.
Yeah.
So I just presumed, go and do your work with your fighter. So we went
Mm.
off. Jaron Ennis signed his new contract, and part of that contract, if the Ortiz fight was available, was the exact terms that we discussed in that room, and he signed off on them. So I just expected, I think the Zone expected as well, for Golden Boy to come back and go, we've also done our deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen, they've got their fight coming up, but I know that Oscar wants to make the best fights in boxing. That is the best fight in boxing, like certainly in American boxing. Two of the best young fighters in the world. It is such a great fight. And I think they can win. I know we win. So we're in. So as long as they agree to all the terms that we agreed on in that room, the fight happens. Now, if Vergil wants to be on his time and all that kind of stuff, then there's nothing you can do about it. We'll go and fight Muratalla, or we'll fight Fundora, or whatever we've got to do. But after this Lima fight, anyone goes. Anyone can get it. Anybody. Whether that's Muratalla, whether that's Fundora, whether that's Ortiz, whether that's Crawford, it don't matter. Boots will fight anyone. And honestly, I can't see anybody beating him. I really can't.
There was I can only describe it as Twitter talk, I guess, of speculation of a rift between yourself and Jaron Ennis. Is there any truth to that?
The world famous Rick Glazer. I mean, the most bizarre. Someone sent it to me last night. Oh, there's a rift between Jaron Ennis and Eddie. Like, there couldn't be any less of a rift. There is no rift. There is no argument. We get on so well. We're in a perfect place together. I read this stuff on Twitter and I'm like, what the fuck? Where on earth do you get that from? And it's like, some people think that it's like gospel, you know?
Yeah.
So someone sent it to me last night. I was like, we talk all the time. The show's another big success. We know exactly where we're all going together. He's just signed a new multi-fight deal with us. It's bizarre. But anyway, yeah, things are great. I think we'll be close to 10,000 again in Philly.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
That's good to hear. Obviously was in Riyadh last week, meeting up with Turki Alalshikh. Tease a little photo of yourself with some big announcement coming. I guess, is there any sort of update of what those announcements could be? I guess
Yeah, I
boxing
mean,
wise.
it's a mixture thing. Obviously, that Turkey's a great supporter of all promoters, and he has this sponsorship that he does with everybody, which is great, and we'll be extending that. There was talks beyond boxing. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation around our Netflix doc, and also snooker and darts, which there'll be an announcement on those sports soon, which is great for them. Look, and of course, he wants to make AJ against Fury. I mean, it's not a secret. I mean, he wants to make the biggest fights in the sport. That is the biggest fight in boxing right now, I think, and we've got to agree our end. And then it's up to Turkey whether he can get Fury in the ring. I mean, the great thing about these situations now is it's not me speaking to Frank Warren and Spencer Brown and Tyson Fury trying to do a deal. We just got to do our deal. And if Turkey can make the fight, it's on. But if he can't, then it's not on. So we're just focused in on that side. We've got a plan for AJ to get him back in the ring as soon as possible and then lead up to a huge fight against Tyson Fury in 2026. So we'll do our deal with Turkey and then he'll try and do his deal with Tyson Fury, and fingers crossed we can make it happen.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I guess was the main conversation when it come boxing wise was around AJ Fury. I know there's numerous stuff that goes on, but that would be the main line that the conversation would take place in.
Yeah, I mean, there was loads discussed. I mean, very positive meeting across many different sports and business. But from the boxing side, yeah, he wants to see that fight, and we'll do everything we can to make it happen.
Yeah, I saw you was in Dubai with AJ getting drug tested at dinner as well, which was crazy.
He hasn't boxed for 14 months. We're not complaining. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But I just expected it to be, I don't know, WBC or VAR or whatever, and it was UCAD.
Yeah.
And it was like, and the thing is, unfortunately, with UCAD, they seem to test Anthony Joshua about a dozen times a year or more, but don't test other fighters that don't have quite the same profile, that are much more active than him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were just having a tie, lovely meal. And then next thing, his phone's gone. UCAD are at the villa.
Yeah.
And then sent his driver down to collect them, come back. And they want blood and urine, but he's in the middle of dinner. So, and he don't need the toilet. So they just joined us for dinner. Just in
That's
case
great.
he went, come sit with us next thing. He's
That's
got his drug test, waiting for him to finish and have a slash. So
uh,
yeah, interesting. But he's in a great place. I mean, when I get that phone call to say, come see me, I'm ready. He's ready. And he's in camp now. He's in camp to fight.
is what's the situation, I guess, trainer wise? Is it still would it still be Ben Davison moving forward?
Yeah, I expect so. I mean, I think, right now he's been training, with various different people. He's got a great relationship with Ben. He knows Ben is one, an outstanding coach, and two, technically and from a research point of view, maybe second to none in the sport. So I think right now he's just getting himself ready physically to do the hard part of camp, the sparring, and that solid 8 to 10 week period. And that's imminent, really, because we'd like him trying to return this year, if
Okay.
possible. Yeah, we were looking at January or February, but it's kind of like he's ready, so maybe we can squeeze one in this side of the year as well.
So you said they're training with other people. Would that be boxing wise?
Yeah, but no one of
Okay.
significance. I mean, just
Okay.
purely for kind of
Yeah.
benefit of location. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, you know, gyms in Dubai, where if he's out
Yeah.
there for a couple of weeks, he'll go down and just, work in the boxing gym, not with a specific coach, but just, you know, he's got his own team that travel with him anyway. His physio, his conditioning guy, and stuff like that. So it's not like he's just rocking down there with his own bag and going, "All right, anyone want to do some pads with
Yeah.
me?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But kind of physically preparing himself for the hard part of camp.
Yeah. Just quickly moving on. Saw news come out about Dalton Smith versus Subriel Matias looking like January 10th in New York. From your understanding, it looks like that could be the go-ahead date for that fight to happen.
We'll see. I was very disappointed because it was well outside of the time frame given within the purse bid, the
Yeah.
WBC rules. That fight had to take place by, I think it was the first week of December. And
Yeah.
if the fight was allowed to go into January, we would have bid more money because your budget starts again from the beginning of the year. And we could have done that fight in Sheffield in January, but we couldn't because of the 90-day rule. So they've applied to stage the fight on January the 10th, and the WBC have said yes. It is at their discretion, but I thought that was a bit harsh, to be honest with you. Anyway, we'll see if it actually goes ahead. It was happening in a big homecoming in Puerto Rico. Now it's happening randomly at Barclays Centre, apparently on January the 10th. So
Yeah.
let's hope they can find a way to do it. If not, with a second bidder, we'll do the fight instantly.
Yeah.
And watch this space. I think we'll see if the money's lodged and if they move forward. If not, Matchroom will be doing the fight. But either way, Dalton Smith will be fighting for the WBC world title in January.
Yeah. Yeah. So you confident for that date on then? Or...
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I know the guys. I mean, they're not. They didn't bid with the intention of not doing the
Mm.
fight, but it's a big bid. And if there's no deal with Matias in terms of the number, I don't see how they can financially make the event possible. But who knows? It's a funny old game.
Opetaia returns on December the 6th against Hussein Sin Cara. Forgive me, I forget the outlet that he would have said it to, but Mick Francis said that he met Turkey in Las Vegas, obviously when he was over there for the Canelo Crawford fight, and he spoke about a January 31st date for a potential Badou Jack unification. Is there any truth to that as well?
There were definitely discussions. I mean, I don't know if January 31st is going to be a date that moves forward, but Turkey has invested heavily into Jai Opetaia, and we all want him to unify the division. Of course, the fight that we want, and probably the biggest fight in the division, is of course the Zerdo fight. But if Zerdo's injured and not ready to fight, there's really not a lot we can do about it. So, Badou Jack is the other fight. It's a unification. He's got a rematch, I believe. Also, he's got to do, but maybe there's a way of working it out. Also maybe a Chris Bellum Smith fight for that interim WBO.
Yeah.
It's not really a full belt, but it's another big fight. And Jai's just got to get this mandatory out of the way, and hopefully 2026 can bring those big unifications.
Just on December 6th there as well, I know you alluded to earlier about the Matchroom show being in Monaco as well. Is there any idea on who could feature on that card?
There'll be an announcement next week. It will be the best card we've ever done in Monaco. It's
Wow.
a brilliant, brilliant night of boxing. Some really big fights, big domestic fights, world title fights. It's a really, really strong night, and that'll be announced next week.
I guess I know the America show the following week after that. Is there any idea on who could that be? Someone like Diego Pacheco, for
Yeah,
example?
Pacheco will fight on that card. That'll be on the West Coast as
Okay.
well. Another big card, some world championship fights on there. some of our top talent. So ending the year very strong, and 2026, the plans are already in place, and you will see, I think our best schedule ever in boxing in 2026.
Last few fights I wanted to ask you about as well. Andy Cruz against Raymond Muratalla. We
Yeah.
know Muratalla potentially was going to take a voluntary against Floyd Schofield. That Schofield's gone in a different direction. And we know the IBF set a rule for February the 10th, I'm pretty sure. That fight has
They,
to
they
take
ordered,
place.
they ordered the fight yesterday. The
Okay,
IBF,
okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that fight is now ordered. Andy Cruz against Muratalla will be next. Muratalla turned down the fight in Saudi. We had a great financial opportunity to do that fight on November 22nd, but Muratalla pulled out of the fight or couldn't agree a deal. Sorry. Now we've got first bids, so we'll see what it goes for. But I don't care because Andy Cruz is going to fight for the world title. It's a massive opportunity. Muratalla is a great fighter, and that's actually a tremendous fight. And we'll look to win that bid and hold that fight in January.
And final one, Callum Smith, David Morrell. Is there any update on that fight?
Talked to His Excellency about staging that as part of a Saudi card in early 2026. We've pretty much agreed that, and it's a tremendous fight, brilliant fight. And yeah, I think you'll see that fight land in Saudi, hopefully in early 2026.
Brilliant. Look, Eddie, always appreciate the time as always. And
No
yeah,
worries.
catch you soon and have a good weekend, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, Louis. Take care,
Thank
mate.
you.